Hi, I'm Nella. I'm going to talk about my research entitled A Discourse on Sexuality and Power in Two Indonesian Contemporary Movies. In the context of contemporary society, the film is positioned as a text or discourse that responds to criticism and describes the social situation of today's society, which is then communicated to the audience. One of the discourse which could be discovered in this film is the sexuality. Sokowati explained in her research that in Indonesian family, discussion about sexuality are not appropriate between children and parents. Parents regulate sexuality because it is feared that it can damage children's physical and moral. Therefore, it is very important to understand how contemporary society, especially in Indonesia, constructs sexuality discourse in the film text. This article aims to dismantle how sexuality is discussed, understood, and constructed in Indonesian contemporary movies. The family-themed films titled Dua Garis Biru and Keluarga Cemara are relevant research object to understand how sexuality become discourse of the practice of power and knowledge in family institution. These two films were analyzed using Foucault critical discourse analysis method, which includes the discursive formation of power and knowledge using the principle of mise-en-scène in film. The findings show that sexuality is still viewed as taboo in the film. The discourse of sexuality has made parents discipline their children's body or sexuality. However, discourse about the taboo on sexuality raises a dilemma in the family. On the one hand, parents are accepted to be the controller of children's sexuality, so that they behave in accordance with the norms expected in social society. But on the other hand, sexuality still cannot be discussed in family institution. In Dua Garis Biru, the parents in Bima family always accept their children to be able to control their sexual desire. The character of the mother manifests this by eliminating sex education for the child character. The prohibition is a means of controlling adolescent sexuality. The Ibu's statement, who always closed her child's eyes every time there was a kissing scene in a film, is an example of how sexuality was considered something dirty to know. Another example of the elimination sex education for children is the interaction between mother and her daughter in Keluarga Cemara film when the teenager character experiences menstruation. In this film, the daughter is depicted as having the prior knowledge of menstrual problem. Sex education for girls in this film is not highlighted, especially regarding modern knowledge of women's reproductive rights. Even though adolescents like the daughter need to provide knowledge about biological, psychological, and psychosocial change resulting from human development. So, although this film discusses menstruation, the discourse of sexuality in sex education is eliminated. Besides, these studies findings indicate that the parents in the film exercise their power by carrying out disciplinary mechanisms such as prohibition and punishment without providing sex education to their children. The child's interaction and the repressive parents give rise to the dominance of the parent's character as a teacher, disciplinarian, and supervisor of the attitude and behavior of the child character to match the moral and ethic accepted by the parent. As a consequence, parents treat teenagers as a child and consider them as a sexual creature. Finally, I'd like to end with a conclusion of the main point. First, the family is the most important disciplinary institution is in determining the circulation of discourse about taboo sexuality to their children. So, this movies provide space for the audience to criticize and undermine the discourse of sexuality that produce of a normative understanding that sex is not appropriate for discussion in the family. Then, discourse on sexuality in this contemporary movies voices criticism of the view that position children as inferior parties and parents as superior parties who want children to be by social norm. Last, there is ambiguity in presenting sexuality in these films, including discourse that accommodates conservative or normative sexuality and a discourse on liberating sexuality. Okay, that concludes my talks today. Thank you for your attention.